Right now.
What if we went live right now? That'd be crazy.
Mr. Black Helicopter Brett.
Yeah, I think we might be live.
We're live.
We're live.
How do you know? This is the sign. This is the sign that says we're live.
Oh, I see that little sign. It says we're live.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
We're live.
What?
In 5, 4, 3.
We're not live.
From somewhere in North America,
We're live. We just can't hear it.
it's the show about everything. It teaches you nothing and still leaves you wanting to
The music is just way too loud.
So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained as
You know what?
before.
That music's way too loud.
JK, stop screwing around. Show's about to start. In 5, 4, 3. And now, from somewhere in North America,
I knew we would start pretty
the
soon.
Blast! It's the show about everything, yet teaches you nothing, and still leaves you wanting so much more. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained as never before. And now, here is the man that Gandhi gives his credit to for his personal inspiration, JK.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Jimmy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Somebody should have an applause meter, but
I know,
that's all right.
Gentlemen.
Tens and tens of fans are clapping right now.
That would be very
Absolutely.
unlike Gandhi. You know?
Oh, that's right. Well, is clapping considered violence, though? I think we're almost there.
Yeah, it could be. So, hey, we've got Amy in the house. Hey, Amy, how are you?
How are you?
Hello, Amy.
How are you guys?
Hello,
We
Amy.
have the Canadian from up north.
It's the
Hey.
man behind the frozen curtain.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
Finally.
And in a very undisclosed location.
Careful. All right.
BH. You know what BH stands for, you guys?
That's right.
Black Helicopters.
That's
There you
right.
go.
From now on,
Yeah.
I'd like you to start calling me Mr. Black.
Mr. Black.
Mr. Black. That's gonna be
I was
my
thinking
nickname.
Mr. Harry, but okay.
No, well, there you
Black
go.
over.
Black Harry.
Yeah.
Oh, we've just gone
Black
too
Harry.
far. Yeah, well, there
Oh.
Yeah. So,
you go. And the crowd.
yes, as we do it. Hey, so tonight we're going to try a new format. We're going to go straight in to topics because watching the show back, I realized, we talk too much to get started.
Oh, that's not true.
Yeah, so we're going to start out. Amy's going to take the first one, but we're gonna start out with just a little bit of fishing for sponsors because if anybody's out there eventually wants to sponsor and pay. We don't charge much, but I'll tell you what.
Very reasonable rates.
We could sure do a better show if we had a little more money because this is the kind of look at that. I've got cardboard and shit set up. We could actually do a little better show.
Do you know what it's going to cost? Do you know what it's going to cost to fly Andrew and Amy out here every single Tuesday? It's going to get spent.
Hey.
We better get some sponsors. So let's start out with Amy's intro.
Got Amy's intro?
I got it. Watch. Here we go. I promise.
Oh.
Eventually.
There we go.
I think.
You got it?
We don't got it.
Oh,
We don't got it. We don't got it.
Son of a gun. We were so
That's
close.
all right.
So close.
But I want Amy to have an intro.
She needs an intro.
So we're going to give her an intro right here.
You could be advertising right here, right now. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. You should be advertising on the Blast. Even if you want to.
That sounded more like an opening to a
Bro,
porn
if you haven't
site.
been paying attention, the world's a pretty confusing, messed up place these days, bruh. That's why I like to get grounded
by listening to All Out Amy's World Events. It helps me get started, man. And now here's Amy.
And now here's Amy.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's
So
me.
as we get kicking off here, we'll figure it out. It didn't start right away. But
That's all
we got
right.
it on.
Hey, you
That's
know
all
what?
right.
I think anybody who's watching, you just bear with us. I know you've been doing that for months now, but bear with us. It's so close.
Hey, I just joined, so we're getting there.
It's not. Yeah, don't blame anybody, but blame me.
Sure.
Fine.
Okay,
blame the
you're
neighbor
cutting into my time, Brett. So
And I'm sweating already.
I'm teasing, and you're sweating already. No, but one of the things that always struck me as odd with these beheadings around the world, and you see them all the time, even the mass shootings and all this type of stuff, when people are held hostage. And I say to myself, how do these people, how do they stand, just kneel there and wait to be slaughtered, So that always baffled me. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'd be kicking, screaming, pinching. I'd make them kill me first before I let them chop off my head with a dull knife. Well, I came across an article, and it's actually pretty interesting. And it's actually, these people are more insane than anyone can even remotely imagine. So this is an article by Billy Holloway, and it's a journalist once held Islamic State militant held hostage by an Islamic State militant reveals why he believes beheading victims apparently are apparently so calm before their deaths. He said one of the elements that's surrounding the Islamic State of the horrific beheadings, everyone's always asking that. Why are the victims? Why do they look so calm? And I said to myself, maybe they're drugged, but they don't look drugged. So this reporter, Didier Francois, he was released earlier this year after 10 months in confinement with the Islamic State. And the militants put the captives through mock executions almost daily. So these people are going, and so he's saying by the time that it actually occurs, they've been doing this for months. So at this time, they don't even realize that this is the one time that it's actually going to occur. So they are calm. They've been doing it for months. And they said, like with the 3 men that they just had so obviously this has to do with ISIS and ISIL or whatever the hell you want to call it, these evil bastards. They all appear to be, quiet, calm display. They're accepting their fate because they're not even realizing it's actually not a mock execution this time around. So let me tell you what beheading has to do with my next story. No, one of the things that they did say is that they don't talk about it publicly because the kidnappers threaten reprisals on the remaining hostages. So he was let free. He couldn't say anything about these last 3, but he finally felt like, okay, I've got to come and I got to tell people because they're contacting these families, and he's contacted the families and let them know why their loved ones seem to be so calm right before the storm. But that rolls me into Britain. Really, Great Britain is really off the charts with their. They really are off the charts. There's a 21-year-old woman. My sister had given me this tip about this 21-year-old woman in Britain. She's a medical student, and she fled to Syria. And she posted images of herself on Twitter with children around her with a severed head. Okay, and Britain's wondering whether or not they should, take away their citizenship and allow these people back into the country once they've gone and slaughtered other people. Obviously, she had 800 followers on Twitter who liked her posts. She's been now she's been over in Syria, and they say that her account's been suspended, obviously, but she's tweeted out images of the Stevens, how do you say his name, Sotloff, and she called on all the Muslim women to push their men into the jihad because she said that's the ultimate, and she's praising Al-Qaeda. So these are the people that right in Britain before they leave are doing this stuff, and we have someone like Liam Neeson who's saying that we should be disarmed and be more like Britain and Australia. I'm like,
guy's a tool.
and the guy he's a tool. Yeah, he's a tool. I mean, the guy makes his money off of nothing but violent movies.
Guns and killing people, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And here he turns around. It's like Martin Sheen when he did like Apocalypse Now and everything, and then does nothing but berate military action around the world. It drives me crazy. So, you know, I always just found it really interesting that these, you know, the hostages, and you know, they just seemed like that, so calm, and then you have the opposite effect where you have these more and more women getting into jihad. I'm not sure what kind of virgins they think they're getting up there. I mean, the goats aren't going to work for them, so I'm not really sure what kind of virgins they're looking for. But
well, by the way, that whole 72 or 70, so whatever, however many it is, I mean, you know, after a very short period of time, wouldn't it be 0? I mean, and you've still got eternity to go. So I think that's why
they've been using so many, you know, so many kids, because they're still virgins. They're not. They're up there.
There's some fantastic viewpoints those guys have.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know. So now we have our brilliant commander-in-chief who has declared war on Ebola in Africa. Yeah, he's sending.
He meant ISIS, but he said Ebola.
Yeah. He's going to go fight Ebola, and we're going to go advise the Iraqis against ISIS. So we have we already have boots on the ground in Syria, and in Syria, but we've had them on the ground for a while. But in Iraq. So this whole thing with no boots on the ground, it's total crap. We have boots on the ground. We've had them for a while. Now where they want to send more advisors. Advisors means contractors. Contractors means no death tolls, you know, no death counts, because they're not considered
private
boots on
army.
The ground.
It's a private army.
You know what I mean? It's a total crock.
They're known as a security force, so they don't qualify for the same type of reporting.
Exactly.
They don't have to answer to the government either.
Isn't it funny, though, that they're going to send advisors into a war zone and soldiers into a virus zone?
Into a virus zone.
Well,
I think I see a virus.
This is kind of you can touch on this one if you want, Brett. But you know, what better way to infect our military? You get 3,000 armed.
No. And by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had a theory today after Jim put that up. You know what? Here's an idea. Let's send 3,000 soldiers into that area, get them infected. Guess where their next stop is going to be? Iraq, Syria, and all those areas, and just start infecting people.
Well, that's a better conspiracy than I was thinking.
Yeah, Brett, I think you ought to stay in a undisclosed location, because I might send the black vans after you after that one.
Well, no, that's what I think they're doing. They're gonna get these guys infected. They're gonna send them into an area where, you know, possibly they spread it to the enemy. And I mean, who knows? I'm just saying, why else would you send 3,000 soldiers into an area? You can't fight Ebola. I mean, if you want to round people up.
Yeah.
It's the most
my theory, Brett, was that they want to bring them back once they're sick. They bring them back to, you know, some of the biggest army bases that we have, and now our entire military is in, you know. Yeah.
That's quite frankly, you know.
Obama clearly said. He
will
clearly
destroy
says
America. Change America.
Wanted to change America, yeah. And if you want to really decimate us, and you go ahead and get our military sick, and they can't fight, and they're decimated.
Who are the only people that can take, you know, who can fight the government?
He's already okayed for foreign troops to come on our what the hell do you call this, in our country. In our borders. Sorry, my mind's going in about 9 different directions. He's already okayed that in the event for FEMA, in the event of a catastrophe, he has already signed off on Russian troops being able to come over, and there's already about 3,000-4,000 of them here already. Yeah. So.
Well, you know, here's Obama saying that the ISIS is the JV team, and that we're not at war with ISIS, and ISIS isn't at war with us, and they're not Islamic, and all this crap. And then he comes out and makes a statement today and says, Ebola outbreak is threat to global security. If not stopped now, it could affect hundreds of thousands.
I know, right?
I'm like, what?
Hey, funny enough, so could your policies. They're pretty infectious.
And you know what?
I feel sick after
ISIS has
listening to
already
you.
killed probably hundreds of thousands. This guy is so off the charts. It's not even. You can't even make.
It's funny. By the way,
it's good.
I don't know if you guys do this, but every time Obama has a speech. Every time Obama has a speech and he says the American people, those three words together, if you put destroy right in front of it, he's actually not lying. So just insert destroy in front of the American people, and it's perfect.
Absolutely.
And actually, it all makes sense then. He just forgets that one word.
Yeah, it'll make you feel better, Brett. Just a couple more points that I had. We have I guess Uruguay is one of the places that's like opening arms to all of these Syrian, refugees and stuff. But along with the refugees,
they were going to do Uranus.
They might as well be in Uranus. They're going to receive 6 detainees, 4 of whom are from Syria, cleared for release from Guantanamo Bay after being held unjustly, according to the Uganda Prime Minister.
Hey, Amy, I do want to ask you a question about the beheadings where you started. And this is something I had heard earlier. Now, I chose not to start popping up these videos that came out of the beheadings. I decided very early on I'm not going to watch these in any way, shape, or form. Why, because
you wanted to sleep at night?
Well, maybe a little bit of that. But here's one question, and there was a guy that put up, and I think, Jim, maybe you saw this as well, but there was a picture I saw, and it was photoshopped, and he made it very clear it was photoshopped, but he took the first scene of the beheading, and he put it in front of a green screen. He said, well, what if this was all done on a studio? Notice how crystal clear the picture is. I mean, normally we get these...
Amy knows the guy. It's Blaine. Who's the guy? Blaine Cooper, whatever. He just got kicked off Facebook for 30 days because he made a threat. Yeah. He's the former Marine that stood up in the town hall meeting in Arizona and said that he would arrest John McCain if he could for treason.
Yeah.
Nice.
But anyways, go ahead, Brett.
So I'm just curious because I had heard that they actually cut the video before they actually show the beheading. You can see the very beginning of it, but they don't actually show the knife going through, the head coming off, the guy holding it up, the blood spraying. They don't show it. Now, anytime something like that happens, and in my world, my black helicopter world, that says to me, it's sort of like the myth that they found Osama bin Laden, killed him, whisked him out to sea, dumped him. Oh, we don't want to cause any trouble. No pictures, no proof, no nothing. But we, the American people, are supposed to believe that. And in this case, I'm wondering.
It's a world full of Truman.
You're asking why this guy isn't freaking out. Maybe it's a lot simpler than trying to create some scenario behind it of all this, these fake attempts or these mimicked beheadings. Maybe it's just that it didn't actually happen. Maybe it was just it's set up. It's designed. We couldn't get into Syria. The American people stood up and said, "No, Obama, you're not doing it." And there was actually a big outcry. And we couldn't get in there. The government couldn't get in there. They couldn't get around it. And so they had to come up with a new plan. So they reset, and here it is. Now all of a sudden ISIS pops up. It's the new boogeyman. It's the new name on the street. Osama's gone. We got to have something new.
Wait a minute. ISIS didn't just pop up. We all knew the same thing happened in Syria that happened in Egypt.
I got a question for Amy. Because Amy has a very close personal friend who is a special ops in one of the foreign countries that she's got intimate detail of our guys. So, Amy, would you agree that our military is probably the best trained military in the world?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you had the opportunity to train with, let's say that you had the opportunity to train with Chuck Norris and some of the best fighters in the world, do you think after 8 or 9 years you'd be one badass fighter?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How is it that what previously was the fourth largest army in the world that we then came in and retrained, got ran over in about 2 seconds by 3,000 people from ISIS? How did that happen in Iraq?
Well,
the fourth largest army in the world that were trained by American soldiers, the best of the best in the world, and they just fell over backwards when 3,000 ISIS members showed up?
Well,
that's what I'm asking.
Well, a couple things. No, a couple things. You know, they initially, some of them did, you know, fall over backwards, but you notice that once they stood up and they stopped running away and they started standing up, they started gaining ground. The Kurds aren't going anywhere. The Kurds are not going anywhere. Some of the some of the special groups in Iraq have really taken back a lot of ground.
And here we are willing to give weapons and money and training to Syrian rebels who
but this is what I want to go back to that though.
But
I want
not
to go back
to
to that though.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened in Syria that happened in Egypt. You had there really is a free Syrian army, but they were infiltrated by these people who are now called ISIS. We were saying it from day one. That's why no one wanted to help. That's why the people were, we were crying, saying, no, we don't want to send stuff over to them because they have all the radicals taking over.
The
same thing happened in Egypt.
Do you know who the Free Syrian Army are, religious-wise? Do you know? Because I do.
Is that a trick question then?
I know.
I'm not kidding.
You're talking about Shia Sunni?
They're Mormons, aren't they?
Yeah, I was going to say they
I have a close personal friend, an elderly couple who's from Syria. They live where I live. They own a restaurant where I've talked to them about this for the last 3 or 4 years before all this really got hold, and all they had were snipers, just a sniper here and there. And America was saying Bashar is firing on his own people. And my Syrian friends, and I spoke with their niece, 30 years old, school teacher, came over and visited, and just beautiful. And I'm like, and she's going to go back to Syria. And I go, what are you going back to Syria for? Isn't that scary? She goes, absolutely not. She goes, everything you see on the news is a lie. She goes, Bashar is not firing on his people. She goes, we love him. She goes, our country is as free as your country is in many respects. She goes, I'm a school teacher. And I said, you're dressed nice too. You got your makeup on, your fingernails done, you got everything. She goes, I can drive, I do what I want, I go where I want, I don't need an escort. We love Syria. And she goes, do you know who the snipers are? She goes, that's Al-Qaeda. And she goes, and those quote-unquote free Syrian army are Muslims. And these small towns that were rising up were Muslims, and Al-Qaeda came in and gave them money in order to rise up against Bashar. So that's what they say. We are going to arm the free Syrian army who are the Muslims. Anyways, I'm cutting in on your time.
It would be so neat. It would be so neat to see the news reports coming out of countries like that. Now our government would say, oh, well, they're all just propagandic, and the Syrian government is just controlling the news. And then of course you have to say, well, gee, have you guys looked in the mirror? But that's a whole different topic. But
right.
Yeah, they don't want to look in the mirror. I have a friend from Syria also, and he was saying something similar, Jim.
Yeah.
He's a Christian. He's a Christian. He's a Christian
from
Syria.
Are Christians too. Yeah, both these guys are Christians. The family is. And I got to be honest with you. 3 or 4 years ago, I said, I got to be honest with you, man. I said, I didn't call him man, but I can't say his name on here because just in case somebody comes and kills him. But I told him, I said, I've got a really hard time believing that, but I believe you. And he had just went back. This guy's 68 years old. And he's got family there. He's been back to visit. And he says, I'm just telling you, Jimmy. And so I told him, I said, I'm telling you what, Nick. That's his name. I said, I'm telling you what. I said, if Obama wins the election, and I spun my computer around, I said, I'm buying you one of these because I'm getting me one. And I said, I'm going to get you a prayer rug. And I got a prayer rug with a little compass that faces east. Because that's what we're all going to end up needing.
Well, I've got the burqa, and I've got the alarm clock that does the call to prayer 7 times
Amy,
a day.
don't do this to us.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Well, I'll wear that for Halloween.
You just getting ready?
I told my guy, he's in Afghanistan. I said, if I'm going to rail against the burqa, I need to experience it for myself. So I made him promise me that he would send me a real one.
That's fantastic.
So I have it. I've worn it around my house. It's horrible. It's horrendous.
Oh, you have a real burqa?
I have a real burqa.
Oh man, you could be using that
yeah, because the rough
when the weather gets bad.
That's right. That's right. It's nice and warm. Hey, Jim, I wanted to
Phoenix, and the sand can't get in my eyes.
There you go. Hey, I wanted to point something out, Jim. You were talking about your Syrian friends, and they're getting ready to go back to Syria. And of course, my thought would have been exactly what your thought was, and it would have been, wow, why would you want to go back there? It's so dangerous. It's so unsafe. And you know what they very easily could have said to any of us Americans? Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to go to Chicago. You want to talk about a place where people are getting shot and killed on a daily basis. Our inner cities, in our major cities, there's probably, 12 to 15 cities where there are multiple murders happening daily. Granted, it's not. And by the way, there is a war on drugs in this country, so you could very well say that our country is a war zone. Yeah. And a lot of these people are being killed.
They said they got a war on drugs, didn't they?
I bet you more people die in the United States due to gunfire, to this drug war, than died in Syria today. I mean, I bet you that's per capita.
Hey, before we move on, because we started at 7:05, almost 7:30 now, so we're going to give Amy a chance to wrap up. But before we do that, I need to clarify something. I am not saying that Basharov is a great guy. I'm saying that people who live under him like him, because me personally, like it or not, I'm pro-Israel. He's not. So I'm pro-democracy. He's not. So
but Christians were able to live under. Yeah. Yes. Christians have been able to live in peace in Syria under Bashar.
No problem. Right.
One thing I'd like to add too is some coffee would be really nice right now. I'm just thinking a latte.
Yes, you need a latte.
Just
Who needs a latte?
I don't know.
You guys notice that? I just put a little subtle thing in there, just in case I have.
Wouldn't that be weird?
Or anybody close?
Sidebar note: my friend did get his immediate family out of Syria, but he does have extended family still there. But he felt it was dangerous enough that he was going to get his family out, so they're in Dubai.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. So, as far as the beheadings, I mean, I don't know. Unless I was there, Brett. I mean, I saw the beheading of what's that? What was that kid's name? Nicholas Berg.
Yeah.
I watched that one. That was enough for me.
Did the head come off? The head came off.
They were sawing on that one. Yeah, they were, and he was screaming, and the head was lopping. Yeah, it was disgusting.
Okay. So I never watched it. I don't want to.
I never really wanted to watch another one because of that. So I can't say. Some people did say that they saw the video. The new videos. I can't say because I didn't watch them, but some people have said, I saw it, you don't want to see it. But to your point, Brett, I don't know if the head actually, came off.
Can I say something real quick?
I'm just saying it raises doubt. That's all I'm saying.
Me and Brett were talking the other day. Do you remember the very first James Foley, the very first
reporter, journalist?
Thank you. Okay. Then the second one, the one you just mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. Think hard. Have you heard, did you ever see any news organization claim him?
Who'd they work for?
Did any news organization claim him as their employee?
Canadians?
My
CNN?
My Syrian contact said, he goes, Jimmy, let me tell you. He goes, that second reporter was not a reporter. And he says, that guy worked for the CIA. He was over in Turkey. And he was working with these groups, and somebody found out that he was working on the side with something, and they pulled him aside and they sold him. He goes, that guy got sold 4 or 5 times to different groups before he landed up in that ISIL's hands. He goes, that guy worked for the CIA. And he goes, if you don't believe me, he goes, think about it. Find any news organization that claimed him, said he was working for him.
They didn't want anybody looking into it.
He started out in Turkey.
Yep. If you do much digging, you'll find out who he really worked for. So, he was in the business of gathering news. not for the public.
Yeah, that's not for the public. So I'm going to wrap up my segment with a nice, with some positive news from Scotland. They actually might leave Great Britain and become their own country with their own monetary value. That's a huge shopping spree for people right there, I'll tell you. So
that is fantastic.
Save your pennies and get to Scotland.
That's right.
I have no freaking idea why any country these days, from Ireland to Scotland to anybody, would want to belong to anybody else.
I know.
Well, they've only been fighting it for 1,000 years.
I don't want to belong to Oregon.
They vote on Thursday, so we'll see. We'll see if they become their own country or not.
Nice. There you go.
Officially.
Well, then the Brits will have to attack them.
All right. We're gonna.
They didn't think it through, that's for sure. Because they don't know which military they're going to go with, and they don't know which pension they're going to be able to get paid with, and they don't know which dollar they're going to go with, or pound.
Exactly.
So they're kind of not thinking it through before they're putting the cart before the horse. But hey,
monopoly money.
Yeah, you know.
Well, we're going to see if this news, Amy, that was great. Thank you.
Gracias, Amy. Gracias.
Grazie. So we're going to start out. We're going to do Andrew's little theme here, and I don't know if it's going to work.
Andrew, he's been sitting there listening, patiently waiting.
We're going to give Andrew a try.
Really?
Oh.
Right, I'm supposed to do something?
Just to check himself.
The volume's going to go down. Volume down.
We offer services aside of detailing.
What are you going to play in there?
Reputation for taking care of you. We have a quality control program in place where everything's worked.
It's a friend of mine from school, Tom Redding, runs a great program here, Autovella.
A continual job. You're constantly having to change your service patterns because everybody has different
Feedback.
Getting a lot of feedback there.
A lot of bad feedback. Yeah. Well,
oh, yeah.
Where's Greg? I'm kidding, Greg. I love you.
People don't want to leave their cars for 2 or 3 days. Do 3 or 4 services on the car.
I want to go to Autovella. I really do.
I'm going to.
Part of the reason we went that direction is to see a lot of vehicles that carry kids.
I'm not driving all the way there to go to Autovella, sorry.
It's worth it, though. I have never gone there yet, but I've got friends that do. Here we go. Through Google, he does the Google advertising. I'm bringing my car there in the next 2 weeks. It needs it bad.
Cool.
He does a great job. And I'm going to fix that sound for him. Here we go.
I was going to say, just so you know, we couldn't hear anything they were saying in the commercial.
Now it's time for This Week in History, brought to you by the man behind the frozen curtain, i.e. Canada, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey!
Andrew, yay!
All right, everybody. Now, breast
Fans.
All right. Hey.
Oh, Canada!
Yeah, we should all sit there and just sing "Oh, Canada."
Oh,
That'd be funny.
Canada.
I don't mind.
Or the heart.
Sorry, Andrew, I don't know your national anthem.
And we don't give 2 craps either. No, I'm just kidding. That's an arrogant American.
I didn't say that. That's my ancestry. I can't say that, Andrew.
Oh, man. All right, then. Andrew, what do you got tonight? What's going on?
Well, there's a few little things, tidbits here and there.
Andrew, what are you going to do? Andrew is going to do.
Oh, this is the historical events.
You've got some bits of tid. Some bits of tid.
Bits of tits.
Whoa!
Tits? What?
Right. Hold on.
Nipples and tits. That's another show.
But
anyways. Now, today's historical events, I figured, just some old stuff that happened around the bend on this date. Actually, one good one was Owen Glenn Dwyer is declared Prince of Wales by his followers.
Wait a minute. Okay, so Brett, how about your topic?
How about that? So.
Oh my God, we leave a Canadian in charge of.
Hey,
tell us who he is.
What else you got?
No.
That was it. No.
Wait,
that's it. We're done. All right.
Andrew, where's Wales?
Where is Wales?
By Britain somewhere over there.
We already beat their ass.
That way. All right, then. Hey, if there's anybody we don't like more than Canadians, it's those Brits!
Yeah, they're over there somewhere.
All right.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap!
No, it's not crap. But
Andrew, are they...
the British, though, I have to give the British credit. In 1795, they captured Cape Town, South Africa. Can you believe that?
Wow.
They actually did something right for once.
Took them 8 minutes.
And have they...
7 seconds.
Didn't they have rule over that until, like, Nelson Mandela jumped out and took over?
Yeah, pretty much said, that's it. Stop using us as slaves.
Yep, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very true.
Well,
Only reason why I say that, in 1848, slavery was abolished in all French territories.
Oh, I did not know that. That's a great... This is some great information. It's almost like a history lesson.
Almost.
Was it abolished this week in 1848?
Was it
this day.
Nope.
Oh, this day?
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Everything I've told you is about this day in history
This
so
day,
far.
this day in history. I know this day in history.
But I've got a good one for Jim.
Okay.
Oh, Jim.
Give
In
me a trivia question.
1666.
Wait. Make it a trivia question. Wait, why are you pointing with your middle fingers? That's something Simon Cowell would do. What's up with you guys?
Yeah.
surprised you know Simon Cowell.
Andrew, make it like a trivia question that I got to answer.
Okay. Trivia question. Okay, what happened in 1666 on this date? There you go.
Whatever, just tell us.
What happened? Oh, wait, no, hold on.
What continent?
Look at the numbers. 1666. That was why I was saying.
The Book of Revelation was written in the year 1866.
That's
okay, so this happened
200
years faster than that.
Probably
All right,
not
go ahead
accurate.
and tell us what happened.
Messiah Sajabtai Tiswi became Islamite.
Islamite or Islamic?
Islamite.
Can you say that name again? I want to hear you say that name again.
What is Islamite?
Sajabtai Tiswi.
Wow. That sounds like
Who is this person? What significance?
I have no goddamn idea. He's just a Messiah. That's why I came to you. I thought you might have known.
Oh, he was.
Oh, because I've studied the Christian stuff before, right?
He was a distant friend of that one guy.
I don't know that guy. You know
that's right.
King Vladimir Putin or whatever. Yeah.
And you know, one of the things we're going to end the show with. Let me pull it up here. It says, "I love atheists. Hear me out." Just, so go ahead and make fun of my Christianity. Anything else?
I'm not making fun of you at all in any way, shape, or form.
Everybody but you.
I'm teasing.
Although those damn French people, I gotta hand it to the Germans. I gotta hand it to the Germans. In 1873, they said to hell with France and they left it.
On this day.
On this day.
On this day.
Then they showed back up a couple hundred years later. Said, "Hey, we're back.
We're back. We're
France
gonna see if you have any backbone now. 200 years later. No.
You know the YMCA?
Where's our stuff?
I know the song.
Yeah. Well, this is something better. Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
We'll talk about Amsterdam.
Swim Club renamed itself the Y.
Oh.
Whoa, start over. Say that again, because that's a real gay theme here I want to know about.
That is.
Amsterdam Swim Club renamed themselves the Y.
Oh. Why did they do that?
Why did they do that?
Why?
They just decided they wanted to be Y.
They want to be Y?
And did that happen on this day?
This day.
Everything he's talking about happened today. There's some
1892.
Do you know that
all the rest of the days were boring, and I said the hell with it.
Henry Ford introduced the car.
On this day?
Really?
No. I don't think so. No, he was vacationing this particular day.
On this day, GM was
Florida.
made.
Whoa,
GM
no,
was
it wasn't.
made.
Yeah,
Was
it
it?
was on this day.
Really?
General Motors.
Yep.
So I started talking about Henry Ford, and it just so happens that GM was made on this day.
Yep, Durant made GM. He made General
Interesting.
Motors.
All right, then. That's good to know.
Wow.
It is.
Okay, well, a lot happened on this day in the past. That's weird.
Well,
That's
yeah, because in 1922, the Turkish people, or the Turkish army, one or the other, they chased out the Greeks out of Asia.
They did. That's
And,
interesting. I didn't know that. They just chased them off with a big flight
Chased them
swatter.
off, told them get out.
Get
They
out.
went to Asia for themselves.
Wait, Turkey chased off who?
The Greeks.
The Greeks.
Oh, the Greeks.
Yeah.
Out of Asia.
Yeah. Get out.
Turkey slipped on Greece and broke China, and they all went hungry. Is that what
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
Wow. Hey, where's the bada boom, bada boom?
Bada boom.
That was bada boom.
Oh, here we go.
There you go. Way to go, Amy. Way to go.
There we are. I'm all over it.
Give us some more, Andrew.
Let's have a couple more, Andrew. We need a
Okay.
Do you know that the NFL was created today?
couple. It was.
No, but I knew that the USSR performed nuclear tests today.
Really?
That's
Yeah, 1979.
That is in 1979.
Yeah.
Sure it wasn't before
Is
that.
that the first time?
No.
USSR performs nuclear tests
For the first time ever.
for the first time.
Today.
It was 1800s. What?
During Jimmy Carter's rule?
Nuclear in 1800s? No.
No.
During
They
Jimmy,
weren't around in the 1800s.
so you're saying during Jimmy Carter's regime, Russia got the nuke?
Yep.
Or
Wow.
they started
And the
testing the
Grateful
nuke.
Dead
right?
performed in Cairo, Egypt.
Really?
Yeah.
They would be gratefully dead if they were performing today in Cairo.
Yeah, they would.
That was bad, I know.
Yeah. Give us more, Andrew.
The rest
Give
of it
us
was
more.
boring. It's
What?
all boring.
Boring's relative.
Yeah, I'm digging it. Well, okay,
Okay.
you could have done the whole week.
What? Well, if I did the whole week, these 500 things that I
Andrew.
got listed right here wouldn't be any good.
Andrew, what I'm trying to say politely is this is going to be your only chance to talk, so keep going.
Hey, I've been talking for
No, actually,
a
hey,
while.
no, hold on. In my segment this evening, there will be some questions for the panel tonight. So please be prepared.
Oh, okay.
Please be
Really?
prepared. Please be prepared to answer
I don't
questions.
like
Right.
questions.
So if Andrew's
Andrew, you'll
done,
like-
we're going to move on. No,
We're gonna-
I want to
Andrew,
wait
you'll
till
like this
Andrew's
question.
completely done. I want him to...
Okay, well, because I don't like French that much and French people, I'll just
Thank
say
you.
this. 1702, Emperor Leopold I declares war on
Leopold.
France. Whatever.
Whatever. I don't like him enough to say his name right. Screw that guy.
The emperor
that
from
guy
where
sucks.
declared war on France?
Yep.
No, the emperor from where?
It just says Emperor Leopold.
Oh, okay. On this day, and France surrendered 2 hours later.
they did.
Because that's what they do.
I don't think it was 2 hours.
Probably. I'd be scared.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they do.
Do you know why they've surrendered so fast? It's because they got to get to their afternoon naps. All these things happen in the morning, and by the time,
Hey, ho, ho, we must go take a nap,
Oh, oui. Are you saying you want to stay?
The best thing that ever happened, though, I guess, was down there, way down south, the warmer country. 1782, the Great Seal of the U.S. was first used on this day.
Look at that.
That we
What
will
was
There
it
you go.
used for?
I'll
I'll
just
give you the kudos for. Way
There
down
we
south, is that what you said?
Way
Yeah,
down,
way
way down south,
Yeah.
south in the States.
What
That
did
would
they
be
use it
eight,
for?
eight?
Yeah, what did they use
Probably
it
on
for?
his
What did they-
forehead because he was pissed off. I don't know. It
It
Were
doesn't.
doesn't
were they-
even say.
No.
Were they branding Hispanics? I don't know. Wasn't that about the time of the Mexican-American War? I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I thought we got it
that
back.
was 1810.
Oh my gosh. Boy,
All
white
right.
people were
Should we
just
see
terrible
if
back.
should we see if Brett's topic will load?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out. It may or may not.
Andrew, do you
Thank
got
you,
anything
Andrew.
else?
I got tons of stuff, but like I said, it's all boring.
All right. Well, maybe next week in history something good will have happened.
I hope so.
Maybe.
That was
All right. So we're gonna see if old Jimmy can load this so that we can hear it. I'm gonna turn up the volume.
I can't. What?
Huh?
What is that? What?
Here we go.
Say something.
Brett. This is commercial for Raquel, Rock Solid Coffee. Thank you very much. I made this. I made this
solid coffee.
I'm still waiting for it.
Rock Solid Coffee that day. Oh, such a bonehead. Hey, don't laugh.
He's a skeleton.
I bought that Rock Solid Coffee. I kept seeing on the Facebook page and life was going so good. And then I didn't drink it that day. Oh, I didn't make good choices that day.
I think you, Rob.
I drink Rock Solid Coffee and feel like good choices. Well, I sure didn't. Oh, I wish I had. I wish I had. Oh.
That's it.
I love the skeleton.
Ever really wonder what those black helicopters are all about? Well, so does our very own Brett Harris. So join us for our tinfoil hat truth of the week. And remember, they're watching. They're always watching.
I added those extra helicopters.
Oh, that's good too.
I like those. Those are good. That's
Hey.
good.
My production
All right.
of that wasn't so solid on the vocals there.
I still
So
want latte.
now I have to actually come up with something to talk about.
Don't
So
show anybody what you've done.
oh, look at that!
There
Magic
you
latte.
go.
Let's look, everybody.
You
The
better give
magic latte.
that woman some good loving tonight or something, James.
My magic latte.
If she would let him.
That's mine.
Oh
That
man.
sounds like a personal problem.
Feel my ass off the sofa.
That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. So
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the topics I
sweating
think that would be what's because I'm sweating again. Yeah, it's like I hope she didn't hear what I said. Don't play this back, okay, Lise? Thanks.
Right.
So my topic tonight is dealing with 9/11, and we've just come through the 13th anniversary of that event.
Oh,
And-
you're killing me. Go ahead.
I love it when Brett does current topics.
It is one of those. Well, you know what though? It is current because we just came through it. We just came through the
13
anniversary.
years ago.
And you know what? And I
It
mean
was
this.
almost
in
a
all,
week ago.
I mean this in all due
You're
sincerity.
still a week behind now.
I know. Well, hey, I wanted to talk about it last week. The day just didn't fall right. Now listen. Here's the thing: is that I think talking about it on the day or around that day does a little bit of a disrespect because no matter where you fall on the topic of 9/11 and what happened that day and what the real truth is, if you have doubts or if you just believe the official story, people passed away that day and were killed that day, no matter who's responsible. And I think that there's always respect. I always have respect for that, and I always give that its due diligence. But at the same time, I've spent a whole lot of time, and this is where I get my black helicopter tinfoil hat title. But I had one question that I wanted to ask everybody tonight, and we won't spend a whole lot of time on this. I have one question. I got one picture I want to pop up, and I just want to get some opinion on it. The question, and we'll go with Amy first, Andrew, then Jim. Well, actually, I guess it's kind of stupid to do that, but because one of you might get this right. In New York City on 9/11, September 2001, how many buildings collapsed? In New York City, how many buildings collapsed that day?
3. Maybe 4.
It was the answer is 3 actually. The answer is 3. A lot of people don't realize Building 7 collapsed at 5:30 that evening, and it was never hit by a plane and was pretty much not really that damaged, and there was two
it
buildings on either side of it that stayed up.
It fell in sympathy for its.
It did. It was a sympathy collapse. That's exactly right. Well, I'll tell you what I wanted to put up and ask a question about, because this is the one that's always perplexed me, and I just wanted to do some opinion on it. If you can put me up on the screen there.
Let me see.
Oh, you're up right now. Brett believes in the fairy godmother and Santa Claus. Just saying. Oh, you want me to put the picture up?
Oh, the picture would be good. Yeah, that's right.
I love this. Honestly, I love what Brett's going to do here.
But I would like to ask the question. This will be the second question I'm going to ask, and where I have it circled here with my pathetic little circle that I use with my clip tool. Do you all realize that that is where a 757 supposedly slammed into the Pentagon?
That's what I was saying to Amy the other day. The damn thing came in, and it knocked over a couple of, partial part of some bricks off the wall, and then disintegrated and disappeared.
Completely.
Look at the lack of flames.
Vaporized.
I mean,
completely vaporized.
That kind of flames vaporized a whole plane, people, bones, seats, seat buckles, engines, everything.
They did not find luggage. They did not find bodies. They did not find seats. They did not find the nose. They didn't find the tail. They didn't find the wings that probably would have had to have snapped off, because if they didn't snap off, that means that they collapsed up against the plane and disappeared inside that little black hole that you see there. Inside that circle, an entire 757 disappeared in there. And if you will also notice, up along the top of the building, the top of the Pentagon is still intact. It collapsed much later due to fire damage. Mm-hmm. One other thing to note here.
How many times has brick collapsed due to fire?
Gosh, let's see.
Even chimneys are still frickin' standing during a hurricane with fire.
Correct. Now, also mind you, too, that remember, a plane slammed into this building, and if you'll notice, the windows are still intact. A lot of the windows are still intact. Yeah, maybe that's possible. I get that. One thing to note here, too, is that they say a plane disappeared inside that hole, slammed all the way through, and punched a hole into the courtyard in the center of the building. Does anybody know what the nose cone of a 757 is made of?
We're going to find out now.
Aluminum. It's aluminum. And it passed through, gosh, what was it? If I remember correctly, I think it was about 9 different concrete walls and punched a hole in the far side, all while the plane was disintegrating and vaporizing. One last thing, and then I'm just going to get off of it. They show where the plane came in, and you can see even in the government explanations and all the news explanations where the plane came in and hit the building, they show the angle, they show the graphic, which I find very odd. The light poles, like parking lot lights, street lights, were not knocked down.
Now I don't believe you, because you can't show me pictures of them.
I have pictures of all of it. I don't have the ability to do that. I'm going to have to load some of these pictures. But also, I would like to end with this. The Pentagon, possibly the most secure building in the entire United States. It is where our government does its business when it comes to our military actions around the world. It is the office building where that happens. There are 140 cameras, security cameras, external security cameras, on the outside of that building, but there's not one single video ever released of a plane coming in and hitting that building. If you buy the story, praise be ya. I'm out.
Praise be ya, huh?
Absolutely. So there you go.
I told Jim that, I personally tend to go by initial reports, not the 3-week later reports that that start coming out, because then people have time to make up shit. Initial reports, the guy's on his cell phone saying, "Holy shit, a plane just flew by and hit the Pentagon." Now, I don't know. Did it just look like a fake plane?
Yeah, Amy, can I interject real quick?
No, you can't. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Initial reports. Is that an initial picture, or is that picture taken 3 weeks later? Just asking. All right, go ahead. That's an initial report.
You know what I mean?
This is where I stand.
Right.
On.
But I get you. I know what you're saying.
The visual evidence does not support the official story, and that's where you start to have to ask questions. And again, if there were no question as to a 757 being hijacked and slammed into the Pentagon, why is there not a single video of that plane coming in? In other words, let's say you were standing on that wall and you were facing out, you would see that plane getting closer and closer and closer and closer and slamming in.
You'd be freaking picking up your phone or camera or something.
100, well, no, I'm just saying there's 140 security cameras on the outside of that building.
Right.
Conveniently, none of them happened to catch the plane coming in.
Well, then how do you account for the actual phone calls on voicemail and things like that of people saying we're being hijacked? What happened to those people? Are they just on an island somewhere now? Like,
hold on. I've got one of those phone calls.
We don't have showtime for that.
I've got one of those phone calls right here. Listen to this real quick.
Oh.
Ouch.
This is how it goes. Here.
Well, so does our very own Red Eris. So join us for our tinfoil truth of the week.
No. Now, what I'm saying is, with that, is Brett sounded like he had helicopters behind him, right? So anybody can they can put if they were doing this with professional equipment like the government has and time to plan, all that's done. They got those phone calls they're releasing and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about actual husbands and wives talking to each other on the phone.
And you know what? And,
how do you?
And I will give you this. I will give you this. There's two things I'll say about that. The Flight 93, the one that supposedly crashed in that field, and I don't buy that for a second. There's not any wreckage there either.
It disappeared in a hole.
It disappeared into a hole with a little puff of smoke coming out of it. That plane was shot down. It was blown to smithereens.
You know what it was?
There was a plane. What was that?
What?
What I just posted.
Oh, that's exactly what hit the. That's exactly what hit the Pentagon. It's a missile.
Pentagon.
Oh no! I have every confidence it was a missile that was fired at the Pentagon. It was a cruise missile, yeah. And that's the only thing that could have punched all the way through to the back wall, by the way, and left a hole that small. Point being, it's been shown that those planes, when those calls were made, were at altitudes where cell phones would not work. Cell phone technology on planes didn't actually start appearing on commercial flights until about 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It was well after 9/11 happened. It's pretty much been debunked, although you won't hear it in the mainstream, that those calls could not have been placed from the plane, as there was no way for them to have reached their targets. Now, that being said, do I know what those calls were? No. Do I happen to think they were probably scripted? Yes.
It's
and the reason I would say that,
only been in the last couple of years you could make cell phone calls. And I got a quick question for you. Now, Amy would know more about this than any of us because she's from back east, and I haven't been past Colorado. Well, I've been Philadelphia, whatever, in and out of the airport and all that. So here's what I want to know, Amy, because I don't know. Where that plane took off from, where did it take off out of the two that hit the Trade Center, out of JFK?
Boston.
It took off out of Boston.
How? Right after they had
when they got up, how long was that? A 30-minute, 45-minute flight into the into New York?
Yeah, it's about that.
Yeah, it's about that.
So is that enough time? I don't know. Maybe it is. I guess it is. I thought it took off out of New York and went in, but is that enough time to sit there and get all the phone calls made and all that? And do? I guess it would be.
Well, here's another
make phone calls.
Here's one other point I'll make about the phone calls, though, is that not in one single phone call do you have any of them sounding aggressively panicked. Do you have anybody who's making those phone calls identifying the hijackers? You would think one of them would have referred to them as Arabs or terrorists or something to that degree. Never is an ethnicity mentioned in a phone call.
Good point. Nobody ever describes the hijackers or anything.
One of the most famous calls was a son to his mother, and he refers to himself as, "Hi, Mom, this is your son."
This is your son. This is your son, Todd Beamer.
Yeah, exactly. And
why not? Hey, Mom, this is Todd. We got a problem up here. I'm on a plane. We got a problem. I'm not going to call my mom and say, "Hey, Mom, this is your son, Jim." I'm going to call and say, "Mom, this is Jim. Holy shit, we got a problem up here, man. I'm on a plane."
Exactly. Nobody was panicked.
So Brett, can you see
take away the fact you couldn't make the call, but anyway, but you're right. I don't know what happened to those people.
Brett, can you see the screen right now?
And so does JK. Yay!
Hence the tinfoil hat part, right?
Absolutely. Listen, I just, there are plenty of questions, and we could go into it for hours. I have done my research. I actually have a disc I made. If you actually take a look, Andrew, you had that picture up of the towers, and if you put that picture back up for a second, because I kind of want to point one quick thing out, and then we can move on after that, because there's too much to get into on this topic, although I'd love to do a whole show on it someday. But Andrew, can you throw that picture back up of the towers? If you guys take a look at the towers, and a lot of people don't realize this, first and foremost, the planes did not hit either of those towers directly. In other words, they didn't hit it square on one side and go through the center of it. What they did was they clipped corners. Now, if you look at the skyscrapers down below, the shorter ones, okay? Now, go all the way up to the very top of the towers, and then I want you to put, like, maybe, say your thumb. Put your thumb at the top, and then make an imaginary line at the bottom. That's about where the planes hit, about that high up. But somehow, the buildings managed to collapse in their own footprint. And I mean, you just start to think about it logically, and it doesn't make sense. There's something more to the story. Can I answer?
When buildings collapse into themselves, they are specially detonated that way.
Absolutely, and all I'm saying is
I don't buy it.
They confirmed that there was I forget what they call it, but you can roll it on as a paint.
Yep, it's thermite.
It's thermite, but there's something else over it, and as soon as one little spark, whatever, whole thing's gone.
Now, Amy, here's something that you have to think about. I mean, do you agree? You've seen the video footage of the plane hitting, generally going through the corner of the building, correct?
Right.
Now, what they're suggesting is that plane hit the building, and then it dumped all of its fuel as it hit, as it was damaged, but it also exploded at the same time. So that 3,000 supposed gallons of kerosene, essentially, is what it is. That 3,000 gallons literally erupted in one big fireball. But they somehow managed to get all of us to think that it spilled down the core columns. It spilled down the center of the building.
We've already evaporated and been gone. Brett, can we see you?
Oh, yeah. It basically spilled down the center and somehow managed to burn hotter than what it takes to melt steel, then causing the buildings to pancake down on themselves, which is the official theory, until they actually hit the ground, and they went down at free fall speeds. Here's the problem, and this is where you have to take the visual evidence into question. The plane hit the corner of the building, not dead center. Remember I said that to start. And you can look at the visual evidence. It shows it hitting the corner and coming out the other corner, the other side.
Right.
So if this fire was so hot, so damaging, and it was melting steel just lickety-split, wouldn't the building have collapsed on that weak corner? Because that was damaged first. The top would have tipped off. And then if you want to tell me they pancaked on top of themselves, that's fine. But the top of that building would have collapsed to the weak corner first. There is no way it could.
What are you trying to say, though? You saw the plane, so you do believe a plane hit the buildings?
Well, and again, I'd have to get more pictures for you. I do believe a plane hit the building, yeah, but it was not a passenger jet. I don't believe that for a second. There's pretty clear evidence.
Are they all on an island with like Jim Morrison and
Elvis
with Elvis and.
There's
Is that where all these people are?
If you start doing the research, there's actually a lot of evidence that shows that the planes that they claimed that they were actually rerouted and landed, and people were basically. To be honest with you, I can't answer that question. I don't know. There's a lot of theories out there, but you're right. That's a valid question. What happened to the people that were supposedly on the planes?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
The whole point of this isn't that Brett knows what did or didn't happen. The whole point is there's questions. And if something happens that is mind-blowing with something like this, there shouldn't be one question, because it should be so simple that this is what happened, look. But there's too many questions.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not that simple. I mean, with World Trade Center number 7, I saw a documentary on that particular building, and they talked about the bottom floor of that was nothing but round columns. So the those columns themselves were damaged, which weakened the building from the
How did they get
impact and that
damaged?
stuff. From the impact.
Couple
No,
blocks
The
away?
building,
no.
of the
Again,
building falling.
no. Again, look,
I'm just
those
saying,
buildings,
this is what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
just telling you what was in the show. They said from the
Right.
buildings falling and all the debris, those columns that, because underneath was like a parking garage, and it had all the columns and all the transformers and everything under there, and those got weakened, and they had the security guard who said he's going through telling everyone to get out, so because those were going to go. He knew that building was coming down because of the impact of all the debris that on those columns.
Can I ask you a question? Was that the show? Because I saw one of them too, and one of the shows showed in the windows lights.
Yeah. Oh,
And
no,
then
no,
all
you
of
can
a
see
sudden
them
the thing
clearly.
comes down.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff comes
brought down. Now,
Like
Amy,
imploded.
you're
no,
obvious.
but see, on the flip side of that, they said that happens when it pancakes. As you go down, the windows blow out, it puffs out.
Now, you're
I
obviously
just,
you're obviously a doubter, and I can appreciate that because most people don't want to acknowledge or recognize. So I want you to look at this next picture I'm going to put up, and remember, we're talking about buildings that were burning so hot that steel melted.
right. Well, first they said
Ready?
they blew off the.
Okay, can you
Yeah,
see
I can
this?
see the
Can you
person
see
up there.
Yeah, we're on you, but it's so big that it looks like a person standing there.
That
It
is.
I see his
That's a
jeans.
woman. That's a woman. Now, if you watch the actual video, this is just a clip from the video.
Wait a
and it's a
minute.
helicopter.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're showing us somebody who's dead?
No. She's alive and very much waving in the video. This is just a close-up picture of her standing in this area that was so hot that it was melting steel.
Wait, before I go back to that picture, I want to know, is this after the event and she's alive, or is this when it happened and she's dead now and jumped off?
There's still smoke. There's still smoke pouring out of the buildings at this point. But she is
She's dead.
standing there. If you look up the
Did this
she's not
woman
dead
die?
at all.
No,
she's
not
alive.
not dead in this picture.
Oh no,
Amy.
she's alive. No,
Yeah,
she's
she's
alive
dead.
in this picture.
Is she?
I know.
No. What I'm saying is, did she die?
At the end of the
On
day,
the-
she died.
Oh
so
yeah,
we're
once the
watching
building's
somebody
collapsed.
who was alive and died.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. Go ahead and talk.
Well, she's going to in a
hate
little
looking
bit.
at dead people. Go ahead.
Well, listen, if you look at this
Freaks me
video, is
out.
very easy to.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that how is she holding on to steel? If it's supposed
Well, no,
to be
right.
so hot,
It's so
you know.
hot. How could she even be in the area? Wouldn't she be incinerated? Anyway, just another example. Just saying, it's just another example of something that I find fishy. So
Yeah, I mean, I
that
don't.
grosses me
It's
out.
not that. I mean, if you follow anything on my posts, I definitely think differently than most people, and I definitely question a lot of stuff. My issue with it is, what was the point of it? Just to go into, like I said to Jim, if the point was to go into Iraq and get Saddam, then I would almost buy it. But it brought us into Afghanistan, which did nothing.
we were already in.
What was the point of going in, of 9/11?
Well, and therein lies another question. But again, see,
You know what I mean?
I'm not
It's
I'm not showing.
that's what I can't wrap around. What would
Right.
be the point in
And
creating this?
Therein lies that this is the best mind f ever on the American people because it
This
was
is
so.
like a Chris Angel show.
It is. It's unbelievable. It's very, very, very well scripted and
Have
very
you ever seen
strange.
Chris Angel, Amy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the mind
Yeah.
freak.
Well, and one of the PBS stories where they're interviewing Larry Silverstein, who owned both the World Trade Centers and Building 7, the only three that he owned, they all collapsed that day. This isn't a PBS documentary, but he talks about the damage to Building 7, and we decided to go in and pull it. And he says it in the interview. He says it, and it's not a mystery. This was in a PBS special. He says it. Well, we decided that the damage to Building 7 was pretty extensive, so we decided we were going to go ahead and pull the building, and we did. And he says that. It's a quote. And yet, they don't even talk about that in the official story. It's like, wait a minute, he says it right there on PBS, a PBS special, that the building was pulled. And if you know anything about demolition, when you bring down a building, it's called pulling the building.
Right.
So, I don't know. Anyway, you know what? We could spend about 95 hours on
Yeah,
this.
we
could
definitely
still
could.
not wind up with anything. My whole gist is, and I'll leave it here. I'm done after this literally. Is that the visual evidence does not support the story, and there are questions to be asked. Do I know what the answer is? No. I just know the story they're telling me is not correct. That's it.
Or we're not getting the full truth.
Right. We're not getting the whole story. or we're getting bits and pieces of it, and then there's other things filled in to help fit the narrative. So, anyway, there you go.
There we go.
Right on. Okay, so that was it, and I just want to be very clear. For the record, I was just kidding. I don't believe what Brett believes. I'm just kidding.
I do
You're
not.
gonna have black. You're gonna have black helicopters on your on your six
I've
there.
posted on this. I've done all the research.
We're gonna get to my topics now. We don't have any time left, but
thank you, Brett. Yes, we do. We have 20 minutes for you there, darling.
Hold on, it's 10 after 8. Hey Jim, I gotta go. I'll see you.
All right, I'm gonna need about 2 hours, and I'm not gonna play the whole commercial of mine because it is too long.
All right. So
here we go.
What are we watching now? What is this?
I'm gonna bet that it doesn't play.
Why is our video feed being jammed?
You know what?
All of a sudden, Brett's gonna have people breaking in the back with Brett there and dragging him out.
Here we go.
Okay.
So I put this together for Raquel again. Everything I'm going to do is for Raquel for now until we get some real paid advertisers. Jamberry nails. So for anybody that wants to buy a cool gift for their loved one or for themselves, doing a fundraiser, Jamberry nails. For Raquel, who's Raquel? There she is. I found out a cute little music.
Sad, yeah.
And then this is Raquel, right in the middle.
Hey, look up. Put your head up.
She's trying to do some physical therapy.
You're working hard. Good job. You're working hard.
She needs that physical therapy really bad. It's like frickin' $100 an hour, $150 an hour. You just can't afford it.
Good job, Raquel. Good
That's amazing.
job.
That's that cost.
I know.
Yeah, good job.
So, what is this Jamberry event all about? And I'm going to scoot past some of these, but basically, this is what it is. So, like Brett, if you wanted to get some of these for your daughters, that's my oldest daughter. She's running the event.
Can you lower the music, Joe? There you go.
Yeah. And then here's some of the cool styles. They've got sports ones for people that like sports teams, and we go.
Did they have an Adrian Peterson one?
Yeah. All right. This is almost over, and then we're coming to my segment. So here we go.
And now, we would like to ask you to join us for JK's Rant of the Moment. Are you freaking kidding me?
You gotta play that one more time. I love that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get that. Let's see.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Here we go. Gotta put the babies in here with it.
And now, we would like to ask you to join us for JK's Rant of the Moment. Are you freaking kidding me?
All right. So somehow I'm probably going to have to change this because I don't really have any crazy rants, or at least I don't have any crazy rants right now. But I do got a lot of stuff. And my
I'm sure something is gonna make all of us say, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Yeah, exactly. So pulling that off, I'm just gonna roll through these. Home invasion. Okay, I'm sure all of you saw this. Home invasion prevention tip of the week was NBC's home invasion tips. Use wasp spray, not guns. And treat the home invaders like, quote, royalty. So the theory is what the government and NBC's people were doing was use wasp spray, not guns, to ward off home invasioners. You believe that? Are you freaking kidding me?
Are you freaking kidding me?
You know what I gotta do, Brad? I'm gonna
That's like
use your person to come up with that. Are you freaking kidding me? Every time one of these little segments comes on. I like that.
Andrew, why did you say that was perfect?
Well, because all you need, not most people, probably 60% of people are smokers and or have a lighter. So that's perfect. Lighter, wasp spray. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All
See
right.
you.
I can dig that one partially. Okay, I'm with you on that.
Thank you.
All right, this
I don't
is
want
pretty
the smell
cute.
of burning flesh in my house.
Yeah, this is pretty cute here. Understanding Women, and this was by a 12-year-old boy. 12-year-old boy writes the instruction manual for understanding women. A preteen boy set out to do something that no man of any age had been able to do before, and that's understand women. While most people wouldn't expect a 12-year-old to be able to figure out the subtle nuances of dealing with the opposite gender, this one did. He researched the matter, he observed, and finally, after a lot of self-reflection and analysis, he reached the conclusion. Below you will find his book. Not to oversell it, but someone should probably start getting a Pulitzer ready. Let me show you his book. The book is entitled How to Understand Women by Sem. This kid's name. This book is all about understanding women. Best-selling author. You can't. The end. Isn't that great?
After much baby oil usage, he kind of came up with that.
And then I was telling Amy about this one the other night. Kanye West, the horse's ass. Kanye West to wheelchair-bound audience member, stand up. So Kanye, and I'm not going to read this whole thing here, but Kanye West pulled a real Joe Biden at a performance in Melbourne last night, just a couple days ago, when he threatened to stop the performance of a wheelchair-bound fan didn't stand up. Kanye announced that he wouldn't perform a particular song unless everybody was standing, adding, unless you got a handicap pass and get a special parking and shit. So he goes on, and finally, Kanye continued the performance. I missed that part. But anyways, he said somebody puts up their fake leg and goes, their prosthetic, and goes, here, I'm disabled, and my friend is in a wheelchair and can't get out. So Kanye actually sent his security person out into the audience to make sure that they were both handicapped. And then he goes, fine, okay, I'll do you a solid and I'll finish the song. What a freaking idiot that guy is.
I don't even know how people pay to see these ass munches. I really don't.
Yeah. All right, the next thing. See how I'm buzzing through this stuff? The world's highest paid athletes. Anybody care to, without looking and checking the internet, anybody know who the world's highest paid athlete is? Wait, don't say it if you know. Amy?
It's got to be a WNBA player. It's got to be a WNBA player.
Don't even say it then, Brett.
Oh.
Do you know who it is, Amy?
I'm right there. I know.
Amasalenka? Andrew, what's his name? Andrew? Just kidding. Any ideas?
I don't know a name, but...
Who? What? Okay, what sport? What sport?
NBA.
I know what sport. I know what sport. I know what sport.
Andrew?
NBA.
No.
Brett, what sport?
Soccer.
You fuckwipes. Did I say that out loud? I'm just kidding.
No, it's soccer.
You guys are all wrong, but soccer, but out of the top 10, soccer is in the top, and an NFL football player is barely in the top 10.
Really?
Yep. Number 1. Anybody else want to get? Boxing. Floyd Mayweather makes $100 million a year. Boxer. Yes. The second is soccer, then LeBron, And what kind of endorsements does Floyd have? Look at LeBron. He's at $72 million, and he's got endorsements out the butt to make that kind of money. And then then the other one is soccer, and then Kobe, and then finally number 6 is Tiger Woods.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Floyd up there.
Merriweather. They just had a story about Floyd Merriweather, and he said something about he went and he spent like $25,000 on this room, and it was all this kind of stuff, and he didn't tip anyone anything. Zero, zip, nada.
Well, that's why he has so much money.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, come on.
And then you got a tennis player, golf
and
tennis, and finally a football player. $43 million.
Matt Ryan, huh?
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, really? What?
Yeah.
How's that guy making so much money?
So I'm going to keep going with some rants. I'm going to keep going with some rants. Right now, I got child abuse. This one's in the news right now. Do you know who that is?
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson, all day. AD, all day Peterson. That's his little 4-year-old son, not the one that he just beat. This is the 4-year-old son that he beat last year, a different son. He has he has 8 or 9 kids, which is not as bad as Sean Kemp, who's got like 26 kids and about 20 different mothers.
Sean Kemp's so out of shape, though, he can't hit them.
Yes, that's true now. But, so he says a photo shows the boy suffering from a head wound by 2 bandages. A head wound. He's 4 years old. While other images reveal a scar over his right eye. It comes just hours after Peterson spoke out for the first time since his arrest for severely whipping another of his children with a wooden switch. Another allegation. Now, he was just deactivated for last week's game. All this shit comes out, and they reactivated him for this week. You know why? Because they lost 30-7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes me sick.
Money. But I mean, that other one with the head. I mean, I know I've been around a lot of children, and they do fall quite often. And
yeah,
so I mean, is it proven that those were from him?
Yes, he admitted to his spouse that he was a little rough with the kid or whatever like that.
Okay. Right.
With his ex-girlfriend, whatever. He says, quote, this is his quote that he told the investigator. Be still and take your whooping. 4 years old. What kind of lesson are you going to teach a 4-year-old? NFL star Adrian Peterson accused of injuring another toddler while disciplining him, left him with the wound. Now watch this. These were bleeding. These were on both his legs that were bleeding. Peterson later revealed he had disciplined his son for cursing at a sibling. He's 4 years old. You know, my 3-year-old goes, Grandpa, I'm like, what the fuck are you going to say as a 4-year-old? I mean, really? So anyways,
now I gotta whip
well,
you.
even if the child was saying naughty words, he had to have heard them from somewhere.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Maybe he should be beating his own ass with that switch.
You heard it on
maybe he
SpongeBob.
should have pulled a Ray Rice on his girlfriend for teaching. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, it was the girlfriend's fault. It sounds like Adrian Peterson has a problem with bad children and bad girlfriends. It's all their fault.
Guess it? Can you see on there who got the picture? TMZ.
TMZ, yeah, they're the ones.
Just like they got the other one. They're the only, without TMZ, we didn't know any of this stuff.
Guys are good. They get it.
All right. Part of the story, I want to play this short little video for you because last week I posted something on Facebook and I'm like, you know what? I'm just about done with the NFL. I almost can't stomach it anymore because I was going to shut down my NFL network. I just paid a little more to get that this 2 weeks ago. And then I can't take watching these games, watch these people, but then I ended up watching the games this week and I can't stop. Who's that, Brett? I can't tell who that is. So anyways, let's see what Chris Carter did because this kind of restored my faith in these guys a little bit. All right, so here's what Chris Carter. Do you know who Chris Carter is, everyone? Chris Carter is a Hall of Fame receiver for the same team that Adrian Peterson played for. He's retired now. Here goes. Okay. And these are former players.
Oh, I did see this. I did see this.
They knew underneath it was abuse. This is the thing, and this goes across all racial lines, ethnicities, religious backgrounds. People believe in disciplining their children. People with any type of Christian background, they really believe in disciplining their children. My mom did the best job she could do, raising 7 kids by herself. But there are thousands of things that I have learned since then that my mom was wrong. Yes. Thank you. It's the 21st century. My mom was wrong. She did the best she could, but she was wrong about some of that stuff she taught me. And I promise my kids I won't teach that mess to them. You can't be the kid to make them do what they want to do. Correct. Thank you. Thousands of things we have learned since then. And now we're to the point, the only thing I'm proud about is the team that I played for. They did the right thing. Yes. Take them off the field. I don't care what. We're in a climate right now, I don't care what it is. Take them off the dang on field. Because you know what? As a man, that's the only thing we really respect. We don't respect no women. We don't respect no kids. The only thing Roger and them do, take them off the field. Because they respect that.
Yep.
And you know what they went and did 3 days later? Put him back on the team so he can play this week.
Yep.
All about the money.
Of course it is.
All right. Here's another one that's got my gall right now. Can you guys see that, or do I need to move that stuff over?
A little smaller always works on this one for whatever reason. The whole graphic.
Really?
Nope. Right there.
Really?
There you go.
There
Perfect.
you go. There you go.
Now it looks fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's always too big.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll start making it smaller then. I can do that.
Andrew?
1,000 kids have been hospitalized nationwide, and doctors here at Children's Hospital say...
Hold on. All right, this is the video. This kills me. Mystery virus is spreading, and it all started spreading around August. For 2 months, we see these kids and thousands of these kids from all over, not Mexican kids, but thousands of kids from Central American stuff coming up, and they're herded into rooms. And then with the yellow tape on the floor that's what's the barrier. Don't walk over there because all those kids are laying there sick, right? And they're quarantined in the same room, breathing and coughing onto each other and sick. And then this happens. Listen to the numbers, though. And now it's in the state of Washington, and it's back east.
It's up here, too.
It's up there. Yeah. Here's what it is.
It's spreading across the country tonight. Cases of a potentially deadly respiratory virus may already be here in Ohio. Not on your side, John Genovese joins us live with what doctors think this may be and how local health officials are responding. John?
I can't believe the numbers just right there.
Julie, we're told that first symptoms of the virus are like a common cold, but they can quickly become more severe. Already more than 1,000 kids have been hospitalized nationwide, and doctors here at Children's Hospital say they're on the lookout. It may not seem very serious, but then...
Right as it goes, blue lips, he just passed out.
Blue lips.
This 15-year-old rushed to a Colorado hospital. Now, health officials are hoping to open and uncover exactly what it is. The CDC suspects it's enterovirus D68, a respiratory illness that looks a lot like the common cold. Doctors say young children and anyone with asthma are most vulnerable.
Children tend to get the harshest symptoms because naturally they're younger and haven't developed the immunities that we have.
Mike Samet with the Hamilton County Public Health Department tells us local officials are keeping a close eye on the illness.
We're certainly watching the virus. Like I said, it's up in Columbus, which is pretty close, and these things tend to make their way around pretty quickly.
Besides in Columbus, cases believed to be the virus have been spotted in Colorado and Illinois. Doctors at one Kansas City hospital are seeing around 30 children a day with symptoms.
30 a day.
Around 15% are placed in intensive care.
We talk back and forth through the Ohio.
Did you hear that? They're being put in intensive care. That's how sick they are.
Department of Health 24/7. We see reports. We see what's coming. Our epidemiology team is constantly in contact with the health agencies around the region, as well as with CDC.
For now, it remains a virus without a vaccine. It can develop year-round, but is most common now.
CDC says we see it very often in late summer, which makes sense.
Not like
back to
this.
school.
A place where the virus can quickly spread. Simple precautions we're told that can minimize the risk.
Wash your hands often. Soap, water,
I can't take it anymore. I can't listen to that bullshit anymore. Nobody in the news media is screaming about the damn kids who are sick coming in, now going to our schools, and all of a sudden our kids are sick. Nobody's talking about that.
Yep.
They're calling it a mystery virus. How the hell did this get in here? Just makes me sick.
Well,
am I ranting?
Add the Ebola in, and you'll now you'll really have a nice cocktail for population control.
Yeah, I'm telling you, in the Book of Revelation, not to get all religious and stuff, but it says, hey, like 2/3 of the world's population is gonna like die towards the end because of all this kind of crap going on. I mean, whatever, but let's look at some fun pics, and then I'm gonna play a short video on helping the homeless and
Cool.
a positive video on helping the homeless. But let's look at some fun pics. Is that too loud?
No, that's perfect.
No, it's a little bassy, but not too loud.
I know. I don't know how to get rid of the bass, but anyways. Should I actually put up the pictures instead of me? And you guys like it smaller, right?
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, right there.
This beheading should get Obama's attention.
Sad but true.
Andrew, that's a golf club. It's a sports tool that Obama likes.
We got them up here.
You have them up there in
We got
Canada?
one of the. Actually, we got
You're a
really
good egg,
good courses
Andrew.
up here.
You can play them like a week a year.
You guys like
Love
smaller? Smaller?
Oh, look
No,
at that.
bring it up.
Ray and Jana Rice.
No,
spit
larger.
challenge. That's right.
Bigger?
Not enough blood.
I'm proud
Yeah,
of
you see that? So we
proud of
decided
you.
to take the Ray Rice, the Ray and Janae Rice Spit and Hit Blood Challenge.
Hey, Jim, you know what I see in that picture that I don't see now in your live shot?
How about
A double chin.
Ah, hey.
I lost it in a week.
I know, that's awesome.
Took that picture last week. That picture was taken 3 years ago for our 30th year anniversary, and I didn't have that sign up, obviously, but I said something like, hey, 30 years of bliss, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, we just fell down the stairs. And so Lisa saw that I posted it the other day, and because she hates it when I wear a sweater vest. Hates it.
We all do, Jim.
Brett, you got every single sales meeting we have during the winter time. Brett, what am I wearing? Sweater vest.
I won't
I
do it.
love sweater vests.
I will not wear one.
So Lisa posted on Facebook, thank God I sold that garage sale.
I saw that.
You biatch. I can't believe you did that.
Oh, man. You go dump that latte on her.
Yes. Oh, wait, she did make me
I
want
love
that.
this one.
Isn't that great? Iceland's not Islamic. I'm going to need something stronger than tea to listen to this bullshit.
I love that one.
All right, this is a real picture that just he did during his speech on ISIL last week. Does anybody notice anything about the setting?
The horns?
Now, everybody knows that every single presidential picture and all that is well set up and thought about. They had
absolutely.
to know. Had to know.
Oh, I agree.
That is an evil, antichrist-looking.
That's like on 9/11, Michelle Obama went and tweeted out a special thing about being at Kaboom.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
That was funny.
Douchebags.
You can't make that stuff. I swear to God, they do this stuff on purpose.
Oh, I think they do too.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
it's all part of the big plan.
Still more believable than an Obama speech. A unicorn.
Any speech.
Andrew, in America, a unicorn it's a fake horse. It's fantasy. It has
No, it's not. It's real. Shut it.
In Canada, they have real
My
ones.
unicorn alone.
Canada, they've got real ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all seen this 100 times, but I saw it today and I just had to do it. I've outlived Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and Elvis. Bet you didn't see that coming. I love that. Keith Richards. Andrew, he's in a band that is from that country you were talking about earlier with the Duke of Earl or whatever. He's Keith Richards. He's done a lot of drugs and stuff.
You're lucky that you're not in the same place as Andrew, because he's going to bop you cold conk you one of these days.
Yeah, he is. Now, this isn't anything other than I honestly and genuine liked the picture because for all of the water challenges and water buckets, that to me personally is my favorite because baptized. Anyways.
Oh.
Nothing funny about it. I believe it.
Yeah, I was going to say, why you put that with funny pics?
What? Yeah, just it's yeah. 1, 2, 3, breathe. He's dead, Jim. I didn't make that. Somebody else put my name on there.
That's funny.
He's dead, Jim.
It is a Star Trek reference. You know, Star Trek where they go out in space, Jim.
Yep, space.
Oh!
Yeah, make fun of me, will you?
Good one, Andrew. Thank you.
I love Bibby.
What's that? Touche. I like it. Andrew did good on that one. Yeah. Isn't this true? We boycotted the favorite.
I love Bibby.
I love this one here. A news item: Obama says Islamic State neither Islamic nor a state. Convert to Islam or die. You first. You know, you guys are supposed to be peaceful. You convert first.
Well, he said they're not Islamic, so he's saying. And this one's brilliant. This one is brilliant.
Yeah, ISIL is not Islamic.
Mine. What, do you think we're Mormon?
What does Obama think we are? Moron?
Mormon.
Islamic State. Oh, and the Levant. Now, I don't think I put it on here, but another one that was pretty funny that came through was Red Fox talking to his, what is it, his son-in-law or whatever, and then so Obama's
I
face
saw
on it.
that one, yeah.
And he says, it's in their name, you big dummy.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And this one is old. I've got it on our page, but I love that. We were going to use this one for any time somebody was trying to butt in and needed to speak. I have a rebuttal, and we're just going to put that up. Yeah. Brett's come a long ways, hasn't he? He doesn't talk out his ass much anymore. So
I want to know who posed for that one.
Yeah, Jimmy. Exactly.
That's right.
Jim?
All right, so now we're going to do a video on helping the homeless, because I wanted to end on something positive, and I think it's important to help the homeless and the less fortunate. So helping the homeless because it's the right thing to do.
Today, we watched this sad, pathetic woman hobbling on crutches and shaking her cup for donations. And boy, did her cup runneth over.
Yeah, here you go. Okay.
Her territory was the Avenue of Avenues, Fifth Avenue, where stores like Gucci, Prada, and Tiffany's attract wealthy and apparently generous shoppers. One after another, we saw them dropping cash into her cup. On busy days, she averaged an amazing 50 donations an hour. She certainly looks like a sad and desperate lady, but we were a little suspicious, so we followed her. Here she is, getting off a bus in Queens and hopping into a minivan. But it's a totally different looking woman that emerges when the van pulls over. Why, it's a miracle. Here she is, walking perfectly fine. And of course, the crutches are gone.
She's walking, no crutches, nothing.
Our cameras rolled as night after night we saw her crossing streets, maneuvering upstairs, meeting up with friends, and even doing a little shopping.
Still got her cell phone, got her Uggs on.
So how does she do it? When it's time to go to work, she changes into her work clothes in the back of this van. Voila, she's ready for another day of bent-over bogus begging. Later that morning, she told our producer, wearing a hidden camera, she hurt her back in a car accident.
What happened? Accident?
I decided it was time to ask her a few questions. We've been watching you the last few days, and you don't really need those crutches, do you? We saw you this morning walking perfectly fine. But like any good actor, she never broke character. Look, the jig is up. Why don't you just walk normally like you did this morning?
What a scumbag.
Nice,
huh? That's why I have a rule. I do not and will not ever give a dime to anybody on the street asking for it, ever. It's just, I'm not going to do it. My dad taught me something a long time ago. If somebody's hungry and they need food, buy them something to eat, but don't give them cash.
Yeah.
You know, I tried that. I saw a girl. She looked like she was probably young, probably like 21, 22. Said hungry and homeless, and I said, okay. My conscience got the better of me, and I went around the corner. I stopped it. It was a Kentucky Fried Chicken right there, so I bought her a sandwich. I got a drink. I got fries. I even bought her I think one of the pot pies or something. Have supper or something on me, you know, for later. And I had pulled out a $5 bill so she could get a drink or something like that. And by the time I got back around, after being in the drive-thru, she and a guy was sitting on the corner counting the money. He gave her some to go into Papagino's, and then he took the rest and went down into the liquor store.
That's why you don't do it.
And I was stuck with all this crap that I don't eat.
You don't do it. You should have driven by him and thrown it at him. But then you would have got arrested for assault.
The only one I give money to now is the guy with one leg on the corner, so he can't fake one leg. That's, you know.
Well, you'd be surprised. A green sock and some special effects.
Special effects on the corner? Yeah.
Did you guys ever see the movie Soul Surfer?
No.
Yeah.
Great movie, although I say it's great because I followed Bethany Hamilton since she was 13 years old when she got her arm bit off by the shark and she was laying in the hospital. Good Christian kid, but when great. Her and her husband, she just got married, are going to be on the Amazing Race here coming up in a couple of days. But just a really neat girl, and it struck me when she was in the hospital bed.
Is that the Amazing Three-Legged Race?
No. But she's in the hospital bed, and she was talking about Jesus and talking about Christianity and being positive and life has something to, you know, whatever. And I'm blown away. There's a 13-year-old kid just got her arm bit off by a shark. So, yeah. Anyways, so that's it. So we're running long. I'm not going to try to convert Andrew tonight. I'll do this story another time.
Nice.
Why I love atheists. Yeah.
I like arguing with atheists.
Let's start with that next week.
Yeah, I should. Andrew, if we could stay on by ourselves just a little bit, I'm going to read this to you, and I kind of want to.
Run away, Andrew! Run away!
Quick!
He can read all he wants. I'm sleeping right now anyway. It don't matter.
Like that commercial with the professor who's typing up on and you know has a painted head in the back.
Not funny.
That's what Andrew's doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to end this shindig. We ran a little long. We tried this format. I hate it, so we're going to go back to arguing next week. No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
At least you gave it a chance, right?
Yeah, people should tell us what they think on our Facebook pages or on the post. Let us know what you like, how you like it.
And that's actually one thing we need to do a little more during the show, too.
Wow.
We need to get a way for people to call in. We need to get a way for people to make comments during the show so we can respond to them and make it a little more interactive.
If people would advertise and I could get some money, it's $349. I need to buy this processor. I went over to Guitar Center, and I could funnel everything through the processor from the videos to the sound to everything so it sounds good and phone calls.
Oh, nice.
$349 is what I need.
Come on, Greg is independently wealthy. He can dish that out. No,
yeah, here, let me write you a check.
He just snorts it out of his nose. That's what he's.
Yeah, hey, Brett, don't do any drugs this week and save the money.
You'll be fine. Yeah, I could take a night off and cover that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So,
what about Booker?
Anyways, it was a good show. We changed it to a really cute theme because of
it's a little sleepy
now he's
puppy.
not with us anymore.
Oh.
And I like the guy who's been over BA and everybody.
I know.
You know? Should I keep the cute puppy or should we go back to the guy BA and people?
No, I like the puppy.
Alright, we'll keep the puppy.
We all like
All
the
right,
puppy.
well, hey, good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the Wild.
See
I
ya.
always end up singing by myself.
Bye now, everybody.
I don't know the song.
You don't know the song?
I can't sing it. I don't know the song.
You guys